It's Friday afternoon. That means it's time for P2P Live. My name's Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of People to People in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm on the Gadigal land of the Eora Nation here in Sydney for today's broadcast, and it's jam-packed. We're going to be focusing on the trends for 2022 in the and employment and jobs market across Australia. And there's so much that we need to get through. What we're going to do is we're going to talk through the numbers. We're going to focus specifically on the wage price index and also labour unit costs and that sort of dissection to see, well, what sort of pay rise you should be expecting in 2022. Then we've got 3 jobs we've got to fill today throughout Australia, temp jobs, 3 of them that you can jump on the phone this afternoon and you could be working on Monday. So with Fill Job Friday. We'll also be chatting to Bianca Luck, the manager of our contracting team here in Sydney, and she's got her tips of what's going to be happening in the market here across 2022, live here in real life, because we can do that now in real life here in the podcast room in Sydney. But let's get started. Let's start with the numbers. Okay, so one of the biggest trends that we're going to be seeing during 2022 is the impact of inflation and the obviously the confrontation in Europe, and the effect on oil prices is going to pass through to inflation, the cost of everything. So what does that mean for wages or the wage price index? And so these numbers were released just last week from the ABS. There's quite a bit of detail there, but a couple of the highlights. Firstly, Australia-wide in the December quarter, that's from of 2021, there was an increase in wages of 0.7% across Australia. In the private sector, it was 0.7. In the public sector, it's 0.7. The annual change, that is from December 2020 to December 2021, across Australia was a 2.3% increase. Now, if you're looking at inflation at over 3%, which is where we're at now, then 3.5, I think, was the last number. Places like New Zealand are over 5 and the UK at 5. And if wages are running at 2.3, then you would suggest that real wages are dropping, even though people got a 2.3% increase. Interestingly, is the difference between the public sector over the year of 2.1% and the private sector of 2.4. Let's see what that looks like graphically. This is the graph of the changes. So the light blue line is private, the annual change, and the dark blue line is the public sector. So you can see right up until the pandemic, we were running at that 2 to 2.2% within the private sector, and then the public sector was always exceeding, at least for the last 5 years. And now we're in a situation where the private sector has bounced back out of the pandemic with increases that are exceeding the public sector. But still, in the context of inflation of that 3%, at 2.1 and 2.4% of the different sectors, we are experiencing real wage decreases. So is that really real? I mean, let's have a look at a couple of other graphs. Here's the next one, which is the annual and quarterly changes across the industries. So not specifically the geography or the sectors, but across all industries here. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out. So one is that the biggest increase is in accommodation and food services at over 3%. So they may be maintaining their real wages, but no one else is. Secondly, how it's quite universal around that 2% mark. The exception is transport, postal and warehousing, slightly less on an annual basis. The utility sector, electricity, gas and water, down at 1.5%, and mining, whereas a few years ago, people were earning extraordinary numbers in mining, and that is less than 2% as well. The last slide I wanted to show you was not really a slide or a graph, but rather a tweet that from Alan Kohler, I'm a bit of a fan of Alan Kohler's graphs, and we'll put a link to this particular tweet in the comments. And by the way, we can see your comments on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So if you've got any questions, please throw them at us, and we'll come back to you straight away. The reason I'm pointing this out is that he showed a graph the other day. I think it was yesterday on the ABC, and this is what his tweet is about unit labour costs and how unit labour costs for businesses have exploded to be in excess of 12%. So the reason I'm pointing this out is that there is a disconnection in the data between the wage price index at around that 2% and then the unit labour costs for businesses at the moment, which have exploded to be in excess of 12%. So what is your experience? I'd really love to hear what your comments are in relation to your experience if you're a business owner as to what your unit labour costs are, and if you're an employee looking for work or you're in the market, then what increase did you get in the last year? So that's the numbers. Let's now move on. We've got 3 jobs. It's time for Fill Job Friday, and we've got 3 jobs that we need to work on. I call it Fill Job Friday, and the screen comes up at Hot Jobs. There you go. I should work out what I'm doing. Here, warehouse assistant. This one's in Yarraville in Victoria, $30 to $35 an hour. It's a warehouse working Monday to Friday, 5 a.m. start though for this one. Chelsea Dale in our Melbourne team is very keen to get somebody into this national wholesale distribution business next week. The length of the assignment, just to make sure, is it's possible temp to perm on that one as well. So although starting as a temporary role, there is a permanent opportunity. The second opportunity we've got is a customer service representative. This one is based in North Sydney, $27.95 per hour plus super. Maddie Liang is working on this one. It's an FMCG. You'll know the company straight away once we tell it to you. And it is a temporary role working for. There's some flexibility to work from home once you get started and prove yourself, but with an initial commitment, I think, of at least 6 months. The next one is a shipping and purchasing coordinator, another one from Victoria in Clayton, $35 an hour. Chelsea's looking after this one as well. Start immediately. You can start on Monday. Get in touch with us right now. National Wholesale and Distribution Company, data processing, data entry, I should say, where you need to get this information, this purchasing and shipping information into the system straight away. So you can't really be making mistakes here. And some customer service skills. I mean, the rate is just magic for this type of job, $35 an hour. So immediate start. There's training support. There's parking on site. Give Chelsea a call on 90987422. So that's it. The 3 jobs we have to fill today. Warehouse assistant, delivery driver with Chelsea in Victoria. We've got a customer service rep with Maddie in North Sydney, here in Sydney, and a shipping and purchasing coordinator in Victoria as well. Okay, we're going to have a quick chat to. By the way, you can apply for these. If you're on a bus right now and you're thinking, well, how am I going to remember to apply for that particular job? The links that we have in the comments are with Vply. That means you can apply with a video right now, just expressing your interest, and we'll get in touch. So make sure you do that. So we are going to have a quick chat to Bianca Luck from our Sydney team about the trends for 2022. To get us there, we've got another job that I wanted to share with everybody. I think it's another warehousing assistant role. Here's the video, and then we'll have a chat to Bianca.
Hi there, I'm Katarina and I work in our legal support team here at P2P in our Sydney offices. I'm working on a new opportunity for a legal secretary to join a boutique law firm located in North Sydney. This position is working in the conveyancing, wills and probate practice, supporting at partner level. Your responsibilities in this role will include diary and email management, scheduling appointments and meetings, liaising with clients, assisting with new settlements using PEXA, and general administrative duties. This firm offers a close-knit, supportive and encouraging working environment, parking spot availability on site, and a competitive salary package. If you are an experienced legal secretary with proficient experience using PEXA and Affinity whilst maintaining an enthusiastic approach to work, please apply for this position using the link below or contact me for a confidential discussion. Thank you for watching.
It's going to be a big year in 2022. And so what are the recruitment trends actually going to be? Bianca, good to see you again here.
Thank you.
Friday afternoon, P2P Live.
Thanks for having me.
I think the last time we sat here was like pre-pandemic.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I was probably a little bit, I didn't have as much weight on. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the hot recruitment trends in 22. So what do you think is going to happen?
So I want to highlight three main recruitment trends that are here for 2022. So the first one is a really important one. So it's a candidate-driven market. So it's probably the biggest change in terms of the hiring landscape is there's a shift to a candidate-driven market. So there's more jobs available than candidates. So the applicants considered, they hold the power. So they can easily negotiate better salaries and benefits. And companies are desperate for talent at the moment. So therefore, I predict there's going to be less applications on job boards and more creative recruitment strategies for employer branding and communications. So talent pooling is also on the agenda as well. So you can't just rely on candidates coming through for potential jobs on job boards. So companies are going to be talent pooling, so continuously sourcing or banking candidates to make sure they have candidates in the future. Certainly a dream opportunity for a candidate to have lots of different opportunities at the moment, but it doesn't come without warnings. So the most important thing if you're a candidate out there looking for work at the moment is to be honest and upfront with what you've got on and have open lines of communication at the moment. If a client or an agency has expressed interest in you, so dodging offers or not returning calls or going MIA could definitely tarnish reputations.
It's still, look, this market's not going to be forever, and it is still a small market. I mean,
absolutely.
Sydney is Australia's biggest city, and it's still really a small marketplace. So you don't want to damage your reputation in any way that could upset your search later on. You might get a short-term gain now, but later on you could really come back to bite you for sure.
Absolutely. And the second thing to watch is that businesses will continue to focus on retention. So as the market continues to be driven by candidates, retention has been a key focal point for most businesses, which involves strategic actions to keep employees motivated, focused, and engaged to reduce turnover. So this may involve increasing salaries, maybe sign-on bonus or additional bonuses or additional non-financial benefits in order to keep people signed on and engaged in an organisation. The other thing that's not going away is flexibility. So
definitely not.
Flexibility is essential to attract and retain staff across the board. So businesses that aren't offering flexibility find it very hard to attract candidates at the moment. So the third thing.
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
I was.
No?
I did want to say something about the whole, this whole benefits piece as well, because I know that in the marketplace right now that there are there's a lot of counter offers and a lot of people changing their mind once they get an offer on the table. And I think that's one of the reasons for that. There are a lot of people who are entering the marketplace because they're a little bit annoyed with their current employer because they're not being paid enough, but they've not asked the question. They're not actually gone to their boss and said, you know what, I need a pay rise. And if your boss says no, then go out into the marketplace, give people a call. We will have a chat to you. You can benchmark, you can see what you can do, but you know that you've already covered off that situation.
Yep.
Because we're in this situation now where we're getting a lot of people who've not done that, and then they're suddenly having a conversation they should have had before they wasted everybody's time.
Yeah, and they get counter offered, and then they turn down offers, etc., and it's just a snowball effect. So yeah, definitely ask the question first before you go out to market. That's exceptionally important. The other thing that is here to stay long term is remote recruitment. So as COVID restrictions ease, many employers are slowly beginning to transition back into the office, mostly doing a hybrid model. But regardless of this, it will still be, virtual interviews will still happen, which basically speeds up the process. And it's a really efficient way to start the process on the recruitment front. You may want to bring the person in at the last stage just to site the person just before they sign on, but remote recruitment is definitely here to stay. So they're my 3 trends.
Yeah, great. Well, there's another trend that clearly Lisa on Facebook has seen, where she says, "I'm here for Bianca, rocking another scarf."
Yes.
So,
I do have a lot of them, Lisa.
yes, so there you go. Well, and you got noticed last time as well, which is fantastic. Righto, so there's a lot happening in 22. If you've got any questions for us, like just jump online, send us a note on any of your social channels, or go old school and give us a call, and we can let you know what's happening in the marketplace. Rightio, thanks, Bianca. Now, I know we're conscious that we're over time. Let's have a quick look at last week's Twitter results. And so here we are with flexible workplaces now the norm. Did you choose Friday as one of your days to come into the office to be part of Friday Night Drinks? That's a bit of a personal. I think we had about 700 people. I do. Can I just say I do? But yes, I want to see my team. That's only 1 in 4 people. But by 60% of people go, no, I want to rest. I don't want to go. I want to do that. So maybe that says more about us, Bianca, than everybody else. So it's a bit controversial, this week's question, because with all this remote working, which Bianca has mentioned in terms of the trends for 22, there's monitoring software that's coming into play. So is staff monitoring software a good idea? I don't know. Yes, for remote teams. No, the boss should trust me. Or the last one, well, it depends on the team. I think this is going to be very interesting to see. I'd be keen to hear, to see the results of this. It's on LinkedIn, it's on Twitter, @people2people. Have your say on our social channels there, and I'll reveal the results next week. That's it, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you 12:30 next week for P2P Live.
Bye. Done.